I greet you all in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. You are watching a verse a day with me, Peter Muna. And today the verse of the day comes from the book of Luke chapter 12. I'll read verse 58. And it says, "And why do you not judge for yourselves what is right?" Listen to that question, because that's an awesome question. And that is what I'm going to deal with today. As you go with your accuser before the magistrate, make an effort to settle with him on the way, lest he drag you to the judge, and the judge hand you over to the officer, and the officer put you in prison. I tell you, you will never go out until you have paid the last penny. So again, our Lord, as he was just sharing his wisdom and his thoughts with the Jews, he said to them, why, as human beings, why don't you judge what is right for yourselves? And I ask the same question, but today with respect to the subject at hand. And then he said to them something. He painted to them a scenario. He said, if a person has wronged another one, like for example, something that is running rampant in our time and in our nation today, someone sells you a fake land. You have a title, you think you own a land, but it was fake. And then you take this person to court, and he knows he has wronged you. He did an offense. So Jesus was asking, if you know you have wronged someone and he is taking you to court, why don't you judge what is right to do? And he says the right thing to do is to make amends before you are taken to the judge. Because if the judge is righteous, unfortunate to say today our judges are very unrighteous, taking bribes and all these things. But Jesus says, if you know that you have wronged a person and you are going before even a righteous judge, who will judge you according to the law? Why don't you make amends with this person you have wronged before it escalates to you being put in prison? But the essence of what Christ was trying to teach them, and I pray we'll understand it today, is that, it is said that it is appointed for man to be born, to die, and thereafter to go for judgment. So my brother, my sister, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not, whether we believe it or not, as we continue in life, we are heading for judgment. Because we were born, we are waiting now for two things: the day we die and the day we shall stand before the righteous judge, Jesus Christ. And therefore our Lord asks, if you know truly that you have been living a sinful life, and you know that at the end of it all, we shall all stand before God to be judged, why don't you seek terms for peace with God instead of waiting? And there are people who continue in their evil ways until they die. So they were born in sin and they die in sin. What do you think will be their fate when they stand before God in judgment? So Jesus was saying to the Jews, if you are wise, why don't you judge what is right and make peace with God now that the door of grace is opened? Number one, God is ready to forgive you. And I ask you, my brother, my sister, do we have peace with God? Today, if you happen to sleep the long sleep, when you wake up for judgment, how do you think will happen? What do you think will happen? Let me finish with this, because I want this to be the subject of our meditation today as we begin our day. Listen to what Solomon put it at the end of his book, Ecclesiastes. He says, Ecclesiastes 12, I'll read verse 13 and 14. It says, let us hear the conclusion of the matter. I conclude with these verses. But let us hear the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. The whole duty of man is to fear God and to keep his commandments. And then he says, for God, verse 14, for God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether good or evil. And that is the conclusion even of the whole Bible, that God will bring into judgment every action, whether good or evil. So Jesus asks, to those who have given themselves to practicing evil, why don't you judge for yourselves? When you go before a judge with your adversary, why should you wait until you are handed over to the officer and into prison? Why don't you bargain for peace before it escalates to something that you will not be able to get free from? So, people of God, as we begin our day, think with me, my brother, my sister. Do we have peace with God? If we happen to sleep the long sleep today, what will be our fate on the day of judgment? May God bless you, and may you have a blessed day. Shalom, shalom.